So tell us the religious significance of Elf on a Shelf.
Oh, I hate Elf on a Shelf so much. I like, if people want to do that, that's great. I think those elves look creepy myself, but that's just me, But Elf on a Shelf is one of the things about this time of year is it feels like everything about it is old, right? Like everything that we do, maybe our grandparents did and their grandparents before them. But sometimes a lot of these traditions are pretty new and they arise and then it feels like they've been there forever. So like Elf on a Shelf only really dates from the early 2000s when there was a book released called Elf on a Shelf and then all of the merchandise and things. So, I mean, but it took off really fast. And the idea, of course, of Elf on a Shelf is the elf is there watching you all the time to make sure that you're good and talking to Santa. There's a long tradition, though, of figures sort of reporting on whether or not you're good or bad. So while Elf on a Shelf might be new, there are other figures like that. My favorite is the Krampus. I think you are dressed impeccably today, but I'm wearing a Krampus sweater today because I love the Krampus. And the Krampus is one of those figures that's going through this huge revival right now. There's Krampus runs. There's a big Krampus ball in LA. It is a big deal right now. And the Krampus is this several hundred-year-old figure. The first written record of the Krampus dates from the 1600s. And it's this sort of Christmas demon, and that's what he's called sometimes, who goes door to door on Krampus night, which is December 5th, and then now sometimes also on Christmas Eve and other times. And he checks up on the children, and he always carries a switch. I was just talking to someone who lived in Austria, and she'd lived there, and Krampus knocks on her door, and her mother answers the door, and has your daughter been good this year? And she's like, not really. And then this Krampus hit her with a switch. And the mom's like, no, she hasn't been that bad. But that it's a long tradition. And then the next day, St. Nicholas Day, Krampus is checking on the children to see if St. Nicholas should give them gifts that night. The most menacing thing that the Krampus does is he's got a basket on his shoulders. And if you're a really bad child, he'll put you in the basket and whisk you to hell. And I love the Krampus. No one's exactly sure where the Krampus came from. Could it be like an old pagan idea or something? No one's really sure, but people used to dress in animal skins around the holidays, dress like animals and stuff. That's a tradition called mumming, which has gone through several mutations over the centuries. So he could come from there, but it's great that he's muscle. There's some great 19th century postcards with Krampus with his tongue sticking out. Housewives looking at him longingly. So he's kind of like the sexual id of the holiday season, which is really great because when those postcards became popular, the holiday was sort of being purged, Christmas especially, purged of its more rowdy elements. So Krampus is a way to get in touch with that. So I know you were talking about Elf on a Shelf. I went for Krampus.
Go for Krampus. I was going to get there, so you're reading my mind anyway.
I think you would mind anyways. I thought you would be down.